The Ferno Model 71 is one of the most commonly used litters for cave rescue. In this three-part video, John Punches will describe how to rig the upper bridle, the lower bridle, and demonstrate patient packaging.
Welcome again, this is John Punches with National Cave Rescue Commission, or NCRC. This time we're going to show you how to tie the longer or low bridle on the Ferno Model 71 litter. And we're going to start again with some 11 millimeter or 7/16 static rope. We like to have stuff with a relatively sturdy sheath. And once again, we're going to find the center. This piece now is 22 feet. We're about 7 meters, and so we're going to find the center of that, and we're going to again terminate that with a relatively tight figure 8 bite. We could also use a nice tight butterfly knot in that location. Again, I like to orient this so that we have the relatively smooth side on the bottom, not this part that can catch. And then we're going to run one strand of our bridle down on each side. And we're going to locate that so it's approximately the same length as our upper bridle. I have two carabiners I'm going to use later. I'm just going to set them here to help hold that knot in place while I do the rest of my demonstration. I'm going to come down here to the third handle, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take my end of my rope, I'm going to pass it through the handle from the outside in, and I'm going to pull it until I get it just snug against the front part of the handle. That way when it loads, it doesn't have any place to slide. I'm going to repeat that process. You can see I'm very purposely keeping that loop open. I'm going to pull it right through that loop, snug that in, and I have established my first in the series of clove hitches I'm going to use to make this bridle. So now I'm going to make a backup to that, give it a second rigging point along the railing here. So I'm in from the bottom side, snug it against the top, but I'm not snugging so much that I'm pulling this particular clove hitch back. So I'm going to come in the second time now. I'm minding that loop. That makes my second clove hitch, and then I'm going to wrap it through once again, bring it through my cordage there, and make myself a nice snug overhand there. That clove hitch always needs to be backed up. So now we have one side. We're going to do the second side just the same. So we're going to make sure that this is centered. Bring my loop back. 1, 2, 3 handles down, the outside in through the loop. Orient at the head of the litter, outside in and through my loop. And my first of 2 clove hitches. Again, it's at the head of the head side of the handle. And I'm going to the fourth handle. In and through, and once again in and through. Wrap through one final time, back through my cordage, and I make a nice tight overhand right down against as a backup. At this point, we have something that will allow us to create an articulating point over an edge. I want to make sure that we've got these properly centered, approximately the same length. With one final step, we know that if we were supporting only off this lower bridle, you can see that it rigs off that lower point there, that if we had a freehang situation, we could potentially get inverted if we lost control of the upper bridle. So we're going to put a couple of carabiners in just to mind that. And so these are extra large carabiners, steel for robustness. We're going to clip them down in, and we're going to capture that bridle and leave them hanging. We're going to do that on both sides. In most cases, we would have carabiners locked. These are only in place to kind of mind that bridle temporarily, and so we often will leave those open. But if your group wants to lock those, that's perfectly fine. Now the key here is that when you go to release these under load to make your pike and pivot at the edge, instead of fighting to take the rope or the bridle out of the carabiner, simply rotate the carabiner out of the bridle so that we can allow that bridle to function properly. And your litter tender is going to do that on both sides. And once again, instead of fighting to take the rope out of the carabiner, which is hard to do under load, we pull that up and open it and rotate it out. That's the easy way to allow that to carry out its pike and pivot maneuver. So once again, that's the lower bridle, or the long bridle, on the Ferno Model 71 litter that we use here at NCRC. We're doing sharp edges to create our pike and pivot move.